I am V Candy. And we get into a very, very exciting segment. I've been talking about this. Galaxy Travel, finally, here. Joining us live is Kao Joshua Ncube. Kao is a dynamic and visionary culinary innovator. He is an entrepreneur and a global tourism advocate, appointed as United Nations Tourism Special Ambassador for Gastronomy, with a diverse background in the creative industries. And Kao leverages food, culture, innovation to drive sustainable tourism, empower rural communities, and to promote Africa's rich culinary heritage on the world stage. Kao Joshua Ncube live in the studio.
What's up?
Hey.
If you say it like that, it's wow. That
That's you. All
man,
that.
That sounds that's.
Yeah.
If you don't behave, I was like, oh, that's a holiday. I would love
I guess
to go.
it's in the packaging and
Yeah.
the branding, like you're saying, where it's not a punishment.
No, absolutely.
It's a good thing to actually go to Kumusha,
Yeah.
Ekaya, and to have some air.
Yeah, and especially for some of us, Tirimakara dina mavshona afndevelega. So we don't have Kumusha. So it was kind of like I needed to find a place I could call my own home. And by solving my own problem, I realized Kutimakara ditakato and Zimbabwe. And there's a lot of people who've got the same problem, and they
Yeah.
don't actually know that everyone is entitled to rural land. Everybody can go and settle in a village. You can literally go to a chief and say, Nakumusha, and they can see how to accommodate you in the family. So it's
No,
quite
I
an
actually
incredible
did
thing.
not have that
You
piece
didn't?
of information.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like kana msina
thank you.
kumushaka.
Yes.
Unotoenda kuna sabuku. Sabuku isn't the guy with the book.
Yes.
And say kuti sabuku andina pekugara, and they will accommodate you within their family.
Wow, interesting, guys. Did you know this? So we are looking at rural tourism. The segment is Galaxy Travel, where we talk all things travel. And we're exploring today the growing sector of village tourism, how to get the most of your experience curated, or you can actually do it yourself. We're
Yes.
also live on Facebook. You can join the conversation. So let's get into it, Carl. Yeah, talk to us.
Wow. So rural tourism is, I did this lecture at UZ. It was like a 2.5-hour lecture. Just the ecosystem of rural tourism is insane. Firstly, the do-it-yourself tourism. So, for example, we go Kumusha every time because there's a funeral. But how many of us are now carrying like a stretcher bed, a blow-up mattress, a tent? They carry their own brides, cooler boxes. You taking people to your own village. People don't even do that. But you can take people to your own village. Most of us have, back in the day, we used to have pen pals. All of us have like some white friend who comes from another country, right? And
I
then
had
we
my
tell
pen
them to
pal.
go stay at hotels, and yet you can take them to your village. Statistics have shown that people are likely to pay 100% more on accommodation in a rural setting than they would in a hotel.
Wow.
So these are some of the things that you can actually do from a rural tourism perspective.
And earn.
Yeah.
And earn.
And earn money. This is what I'm saying, because like right now in the village, we have people who come to Victoria Falls. We do a naming ceremony where we actually give you like a name. We can call you Tinodawan. And then the villagers come around, they do a dance and whatever it is, and that's actually charged. We do Scotch cart rides, $60 to go from the corner of the road and then go through the village. We put a cooler box on there with your drinks, and people pay for this stuff because they actually want an authentic. There are two things people travel for. They travel for the animals and they travel for the people. And we're not delivering the people part. We're
That's
giving
so
them
true,
this
hey?
Eurocentric.
Because I'm thinking if I go to America, I want to experience the American style of doing things.
Absolutely.
If I go to Europe, if I go to Spain, that is what I want, and I'm actually going to pay, for
Right.
the sort of tourism that speaks, to who their culture and who they are as a people.
Right.
So it only makes sense that we do the same.
It does. And the problem is in Zimbabwe, because we've got such premium tourist destinations, like Victoria Falls is undoubtedly unmatched. But if you think about Victoria Falls at its most dry part, think of the driest part of the Vic Falls and think of the smallest part of the Vic Falls that you could see, right? Do you know that there are tourist attractions around the world with waterfalls smaller than that? And yet people, millions and millions are generated from that. So it's not really about the scale or the size. It's really about the narrative and the storytelling. So there's lots of, if you ask people right now in Chimanimani, how many waterfalls do you have? There's lots of waterfalls, unnamed, undocumented. They're not even in brochures. Lots of these places that people can come to. but people don't realize how they can own the tourism product. As in, people can come and stay in your hut. You literally, like, we've got a website where you can actually just visit and see all of the different designs that you can put into a hut. We don't want you to even fix the outside of the hut. Just want you to fix on the inside and put a nice bed in there. People can bath with the shower outside. There's just so much you can do.
Wow, interesting, eh? The part that I liked was the Scotch cards.
Yes.
How much? $60.
$60
for
for
a
Scotch.
ride.
Yes. Per person, guys.
And
Per
to
person.
them, that's an experience.
Yes. With a storyteller there. Imagine when I'm talking about my grandmother Matlongwane and how she used to run a shabin in Pumula, and how she used to add ice cream into the shake to create a nice frothy cold drink. And I'm explaining this particular story to people, and then I take them and we do like a pig on a spit, or even a pig. You might have seen it on YouTube where I've taken these YouTubers and I put like madora that have been crushed with spices and that kind of thing, and they absolutely love this experience with food. And there's no way they would pay $100 per person to eat that in a restaurant, but they would pay for that in a village.
Wow. Rural tourism. That's so
It's
good.
huge. It's huge. It's absolutely, I mean, our bread and butter right now is now rural tourism, just taking people into the village. We even do lobola negotiations. So people who are not Zimbabwean but want to experience a Zimbabwean wedding, we actually ask our villagers to come together and act as anatejara, neva kwasha, and we bring the cows. Those cows are now on rental. They come up and down. It's just we've been married like 50 times already.
Interesting. You know, I just love where your mind goes with these things, the creativity, and just how innovative, this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys, we need to do this. So I don't have a kumusha,
Right.
Like here locally.
Yeah.
But then my mom's kumusha. So I'm thinking what I can actually do.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yes, because we're closer, but then here we don't have a kumusha. Like our granddad was in Waterfall, so that's it.
Right.
Yes,
right.
but then I'm
No.
thinking of my mom's kumusha, like what we can actually do with that. Eh?
Absolutely. And also remember the fact that even you can do that in your own village, but you can also do it in other village communities. So like if you're a person of influence such as yourself, you can approach a sabuku, say even in Lobosha, and say that, no, listen, we want to do a series of events. Imagine you doing your radio show in front of a hut at some point, whether or not it's going to get more views online, people seeing you in a closer outfit, and you are sitting right in front of a hut that has been painted with those kind of detailing, and you're just going through people's culture and telling stories. People are more likely to visit from around the world to see that, because some of those things, and I think that's what made me successful as a comedian, was that my Zimbabwean story was more interesting to a global audience than it was to Zimbabweans. So people are not interested in hearing about Zimbabwe from a Zimbabwean in Zimbabwe. But you go to China and you tell them about Zimbabwe, and they're so fascinated and they want to come and see your country. So, we call it one man's home is another man's tourist destination.
That's so true. That is so true. If you're just tuning in, the segment is Galaxy Travel. We're talking about rural tourism with Cow Joshua Ncube. If you also have any questions or anything that you also want to contribute, you can hit us up on our WhatsApp platform, 0771622651. We're also live on Facebook. Yeah, so take us through it, Cow.
Yeah, so one of the things that has really inspired me is the United Nations Tourism talked about rural tourism as one of the biggest growth sectors. And in fact, they run a competition that's called the best villages in the world. And do you know, of the best villages in the world, in the top 20, only one is from Africa. And that's yes,
really?
Morocco. And Chefchaouen, which is one of the most beautiful sort of blue cities in Morocco. And the reason why that is because in Africa, there is no way to book a village experience. So there's no way anyone would know. That's why it's shocking, right? That Africa would not be up there. But there are a lot of villages around the world that are calling for millions of dollars that they make in tourism inflows because of village tourism. Whether it's like in the Swiss Alps, or you're talking about villages in India, or you're talking these beautiful, stunning villages which you can actually book right now on online platforms. And that's why we set up our platform, because we realized there's just no way of booking. And so if we can convince Africans to put their villages onto our website, then people can actually book. And what we're finding now is that we're learning more and more about our own African sort of villages. And we've traveled recently to Morocco, and in Morocco, their rural tourism is on such a high level. I think it's the gold standard for where African rural
Need to
tourism
look
must
that
go.
up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What do they do right?
Right. So firstly, the government has already figured out a taxation system. So you will stay in what's called like a riad, which is like the olden sort of style houses that you stay in Morocco. And so when you pay the fee, you also pay a certain tax to the government, which also allows for the government to be able to market. So I imagine if we did the same in Zimbabwe. So imagine if you're driving into a village and there's a toll gate that's there, so that when you're visiting the village, there's money that's left in the village regardless. You can just drive through and see the village as a tourist. So that's one thing they do well. Number two is they have assets like in their food. So being a United Nations gastronomy ambassador, it means that I get to focus on food from a business perspective and understanding the food systems. And I think in Zimbabwe, we were colonized so efficiently that we no longer have a food identity. So, for example, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Munumtapa kingdom used to trade with spices. Like we used to trade our gold and we used to receive spice from merchants. And yet Zimbabweans are the most spice averse country. Like we don't like spices in our food. And that's because when we got colonized by the British, the first thing they removed was our flavor. They removed, which is why on Mozambique to our, to our right is Mozambique, right? And to our left is Angola. Cuisines are the same. But in the middle, here we are with very little personality in our food.
So true.
So we need to just go back into the history and understand Zimbabwe's history before colonization. There you will find the key to our tourism. Our tourism should not be about poverty. It should be about great kingdoms, the Munumutapa kingdom, the Ndebele kingdom. These are the things that we should be pushing, is to say that we are kings, not necessarily that we are poor villagers.
I love that. Very, very insightful indeed. For someone who's also listening, that we're talking about rural tourism and what they can do. Maybe just some inspos for us to take up here.
Okay, so
when setting up.
Yeah, so the first thing that you need is you need a hut. You need a hut that's authentic, that looks like every other hut in the village. Maybe some things that you can do, you can paint it a bright color, you can paint patterns on it. That's what's important. The second thing is to fix the inside with hotel standards, right? So which is to make a clean bed, right? And create a shower area. Now it could be en suite, but it can also be outside. I want you to imagine.
I've actually seen some of the places, beautiful places with a shower outside where they're actually giving you that rural experience.
Exactly.
But then you say it's in a hotel
standard, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So by hotel standard, what we mean is that a certain level of consistency, right? So, consistently clean floors, like you can tile it and whatever, but I recommend the outdoor shower. And one of the things I would try to let people know, imagine waking up in the morning in a village, right? And you hear women singing, and they're singing and they're bringing water and they're putting it on a fire. And then they're going to put it into a bucket for you so that you can bath outside on an outdoor shower that's overlooking, maybe balancing rocks somewhere. Imagine that with that bathing experience in the morning with nice herbal sort of soaps that are made in the village. There's so many things that are rural cultural assets that you can adopt, that you don't have to adopt Western things. When we talk about hotel standards, we're merely talking about consistency. So that's the only thing that we learn from the hotels, is to have a consistent look in the stuff that you are doing. So be deliberate about the things that you are doing. And then you can register that property onto platforms, booking platforms that are there. We know the usual ones that are there, but we've created a special one, Rural B&B, where you can actually just advertise your village, and we can help you to actually get customers.
Oh, wow. So good, hey. So as you say, then you put it up on the platforms.
Absolutely.
Then people who are maybe thinking of vacationing, like here in Africa, in Zimbabwe, they can then have you as an option.
Exactly. So imagine for you can do like a spa day with your girls, right? So like 5 girls will go on a road trip. You go there, you do, we send you with a therapist who's going to do like mud treatments, and they're going to do like a whole spa treatment, do your nails, do a photo shoot in the village.
For the gram, guys.
Imagine you just carrying a bucket for 5 minutes for the gram, standing by the kettle for the gram. Oh man, it would just be so amazing. Better than the club.
Very, very, and very therapeutic as well. That rural air.
Yeah.
It's so fresh.
No,
It's so clean. Yeah, that's it.
and there's something amazing about going to the village. Imagine just going, like we've got these things where we arrange like a football match with the kids in the village. We give them some kits, and then we take a group of people kwenda kuno gocha in the village, right? So they put a pig on a spit, drink some beers, watching the kids actually play soccer, and then the winning team actually wins some money, and then the kit is donated to the village. I mean, what feels better in life than doing something like that for a village? And at the end of the day, you've got pictures to prove it, and it's just an amazing experience.
It is. Like I said, it's so therapeutic.
Yeah.
It is. It is actually. So when it comes to the cuisine, like what are we looking at?
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can cook in the village. Like, for example, I've got like my orange chicken, which I use a very famous cordial. We won't mention the brand, but we know we drink it in our cool drink bottles. You just put that over your chicken, and then you bake it. That drink makes that chicken so soft. It's pretty amazing, and you can serve it with anything, any kind of grains that you have. There's the full fresh fish that you can have, right? You can grind your kapenta, add your seasoning mix like your curry powder and stuff, and then put it over your fish and grill it, right? So you've got fish flavoring fish. Or you can take your biltong and crush your biltong with your spices, put it onto steak and put it onto a fire. I mean, there's so many different like recipes that you can come up with that people, when they're coming into your village, must taste a bit of what's being made in the village. It's very easy to make cheese. It's easy to make bacon. All those things can be done in the village itself.
For inspiration, you need to be on Khao Joshua Ncube's page, and take all the notes.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
you have it on lock. I really wish we had more time. Thank you so much, Khao, for this information. We look forward to next week's session.
Yes.
But then for those who want to get in touch with you and also want to follow you on social media, where to find you?
Okay, so I try to shorten my name, because people are like, Khao Joshua Ncube is such a long name, right? So my handles on all social media platforms are at Khao Joshua Ncube, so it's nice and short for people to know. So you can find me on all platforms as Khao Joshua Ncube. So look up also rural tourism, look up rural B&B. You can find us on those particular platforms.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a message here saying that we had that experience at Lion in Cheetah Park. You can even camp in the forest, and they have clean outdoor bathrooms with a view of Harare and Bulawayo Road. Very nice.
Yes, and camping is not just for white people. Black people have been camping for years. We're nomadic.
Exactly, right? Carl, thank you so much for your time. Galaxy Travel, we're also live on Facebook. You can go watch and share with someone as well. It is the Morning Galaxy on Star FM, sounding good all the time. Check your time with 11 o'clock. Time for the news.
This is